Now, one of the things I find is when sometimes we talk about faith and work, we just assume that it's just about evangelism. And really, it's much more inclusive than that. When we think about a theology of work, first we need to realize that our work itself is ministry because it meets human needs. God gave each of you a DNA that's unique. Why? Because He wants to meet human needs on earth. That's why He made all of you different. The fact that we meet human needs and we serve others is what makes it ministry. The word ministry equates to the word service. It comes from the Greek word diakonia. So when you do something of service to someone else with a purpose to glorify God, that's what it makes it a holy thing. It makes it actually ministry, no matter if you're in secular or vocational work. Another aspect is that our work should be viewed as worship. Remember Eric Liddell in the Chariots of Fire? He said, "When I run, I feel His pleasure." When I run, I feel His pleasure. So your work should be a worship to God. The word work is worship. It comes from a Hebrew word, avodah, which means to worship. Then there's another aspect to this aspect of work, is that we work to minister. You see, we have a platform in which God places you in your work environment, and He allows you to build relationship with others, to build relationship, and to be able to share the gospel in that situation. It's a place to give money. God says in Deuteronomy 8, He says He gives us the power to create wealth. Why? To establish His kingdom on earth. That's why He allows us to make wealth and then care for the poor. Leviticus 19:9, we see an example of the reason that we care for the poor, and that business is one of those places. It talks about Boaz. He was a farmer, and it says he left over some of the harvest for the poor to come and take it. So what is the application for you and I? There are businesses that we can have that we can directly impact the poor through the leftovers that we have. You can study that on your own in Leviticus. So, finally, we can have influence through societal transformation. We can impact cities and through social entrepreneurship. All of this can be centered around this verse, Colossians 3. And whatever you do, do it heartily as to the Lord, not to men, knowing that from the Lord you will receive the reward of the inheritance, for you serve the Lord Christ. You see, each of you, if you fulfill God's purposes in and through your work life, God's called you there, you do it with a motive to glorify God, you'll actually really receive an inheritance from the Lord. Isn't that encouraging? You don't have to feel like a second-class citizen because God's called you to do what you're doing.